Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, hey. So this is another episode of the full set. We've lost count at this point because we've been having tons of fun with y'all. My name is Dee Dee Delgado. I am your hostex with the mostex, and I am here with none other than my esteemed colleague. I want y'all to welcome with me Monique Melton. Monique, welcome. Monique is an anti-racism educator, a published author, an international speaker, and the host of the Shine Brighter Together podcast. Monique's also the founder of Shine Brighter Together, which is a community dedicated to healthy relationships and a diverse unity. She travels the world speaking at conferences and events on topics related to anti-racism, personal growth, diversity, and relationships. Ooh. She's been published in magazines, featured in blogs and podcasts, and has touched the lives of people all over the world. She is a natural, big, bold dreamer and deeply rooted woman of faith. A proud Navy wife to her high school sweetheart, and she is a loving mother to two little ones. Monique has a BA in social science with an emphasis in sociology and psychology, and 2 years of graduate school education in clinical counseling from Johns Hopkins University. Monique believes it's not all about your comfort, but it's about your growth. Monique, welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. I don't think anyone's read my bio better than
Why
that.
does everyone say that to me?
Is that what everybody says?
Yes, everybody be like, why you do that?
No, I love it. It's like very theatrical. I love it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. So basically, what I want to talk to you about is all the things, but I know that when we were offline, you had some things for me, and you talked about intention settings, and it's something that both of us do in our anti-racism classes. So do you mind setting the space since this is all about you today?
Well, there we go. When I am, especially if I'm doing a class, when I'm doing classes and it's a lot of white folks, one of the things I like to emphasize, I actually have an episode on my podcast called Ground Rules. So folks can
Mm,
listen to that. It's about maybe 11 or 15 minutes long. But one of the things that's really important to understand is that I am not, nor is this a all-inclusive examination. I am an expert on all things Black. I am not a resource. I'm a full human being. If you have questions or if you want more information, then you need to follow the proper protocols for that, the proper channels for that. Don't slide in my DM asking me to explain
mm,
anything, or even in my inbox, because that's not where it goes down. Another thing to understand is that at some point you'll probably hear something that is triggering. You might hear something that makes you feel defensive, and so instead of lashing out at me or getting defensive or shutting down, it's really important to examine those feelings, those beliefs, so that you can figure out why you're responding that way and how your beliefs are actually more in line with your conditioning of white supremacy, and how can you uproot those beliefs and work to align it with our humanity. I would also say that I really work to try to avoid ableist language. It is
okay.
definitely not something that I am perfect in. I'm really not perfect at anything except hand washing. I have
Mm,
I've pretty much mastered that art, but I'm not like ableist language. I try to avoid binary language. I really try to be mindful of not playing into systems of oppression that I hold privilege.
right.
So understanding that I'm a Black cisgender woman, I have to be aware of my identity and ways that I can weaponize my identity. So, and I think another ground rule, another thing that's really important to understand is that you need to be a self-motivated learner, and that this is not the end. Like, this is just a part of that journey. Find more research, find more folks to support, and pay
Right.
Black women.
Right. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to do that.
Girl, that's a
They
whole
they
conversation.
don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it.
I know they don't. And they expect us to work for free, expect us to just be out here laboring and laboring, and I tell folks, my ancestors have done enough for free. Like, y'all owe me.
I just had to block a troll. I
Oh,
wish whoever's logged into my account would just block the trolls for me.
uh, Team,
So
team, get it together, team.
thank you. Thank you.
Come on.
Woo, child, the ghetto. Okay, so I just I just want to talk about something that's really been eating at me, and literally all the puns intended. I want to know how you are doing right now. I'm not doing too well, and so I feel like maybe if I could like anchor myself to someone else and be like, okay, we either doing not the same, or I could find solace in somebody else being like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. I get it. You know, I'm all the things. I'm gonna be real. I'm all the things, and that's that in and of itself. Allowing myself to be all the things and feel all
Right.
the things is revolutionary in itself, right? Because we know Black women are pushed into these boxes and these narrow lanes of how we're able to express ourselves, and anything outside of that is deviant and comes with harsh punishment and reprimanding. And so I'm all of it. I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm numb, I'm
Right.
angry, I I'm courageously hopeful.
Courageously hopeful.
Because at this point, being hopeful with the knowledge that we have and the awareness that we have, other than being delusional, you've
Hmm.
got to somehow phrase that a little bit, because it's like you still got hope. Like,
Right.
do you see what we're dealing with? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like I think it takes some courage to still imagine better and to believe that it's possible. You know,
You sound super fucking positive right now.
you know. But then
I just need you to sprinkle some of that over here, is all I'm
you know
saying.
what though? I'm in therapy.
Okay, come on.
Okay, so I actually had therapy this week, and we talked about my feelings about here we are, another shooting. You know, and I already said I didn't want to talk about Black Death, but it still affects us, right? And I have a Black husband, a Black father, Black son. Hell, I'm Black, right?
Right.
And so having a place like that's why I'm doing better than maybe I would have been had I not had some like therapy is helping. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
this is this is not normal. You know, this is not normal to be going through this. And when I never will watch the video. I think
I
I saw. Did
accidentally
you
did.
did see? That's
It's not
another
my
thing,
fault.
Didi.
It's not my fault. White people need to stop posting Black trauma.
You know what? I was scrolling on Instagram, and you know how you follow hashtags, and I was like, whoa! Like I mean, I swapped through that thing so fast. I was like, no way.
Right.
That in and of itself, because you know what broke me, what movie, and I had said I wasn't going to watch it, and then I watched it. When They See Us,
Mm,
I was not okay for weeks, and that was a movie or a doc, the
right.
mini doc, docu series.
Documentary. Right. Mm. Docu
Can't
series.
do
Yeah,
real.
that's
I
exactly
can't
it.
do real footage. I just can't. I cannot.
Right.
I can't. So therapy is helpful. Sis, like get some therapy because this
Let
ain't.
me call my therapist. And also, I feel like let me like shout out Black women in general. A lot of Black women be holding space for me. I know that they ain't my therapist, but they call me, they check on me. You yourself have called and checked in on me. You okay, sis? Is a real fucking thing. Shout out
It
to
is.
Feminista Jones.
Feminista Jones, yes.
So I just wanted to say, like, to all the Black women who have just like picked up the phone and just been like, are you okay? Sometimes I don't have time for therapy. Like I'm still I'm still working 9 to 10, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? And I thank you to the Black woman who called me this morning and was like, I know you don't want to be on this Zoom call, but what's going on? I was like, nothing. And you could tell I was mad, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and my anger really came from me not being able to ever say, I'm not okay. Like, even I
Wow.
say on Facebook, I'm not okay. And people think it's a cry for attention or whatever. So, and then, to constantly, I think about constantly like the activism that we're doing, this brand of activism that we're doing, and how we're trying to make everything okay and how people keep setting us back. So I want to ask you, as a Black woman who's in deep relationship with other Black women, how do you maintain good relationships? How do you maintain the temperament in your relationships when you always don't agree with other Black women?
Mm, that's a great question. And I just want to, really echo what you just said too. And just like Black women, we really do hold each other up. And I'm glad you have that, because sometimes being in community with Black women, that in of itself is therapeutic.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. And we can encourage each other to get the help that we need. But here's my thing about being in a relationship with Black women, especially Black women that we don't necessarily agree on everything, is it's my wait, my volume okay?
Yeah, I just want you to turn it up just a little bit,
Or maybe I need to get a little closer.
Oh yeah. There we go. I said I want them to hear you. Okay.
All right, get a little close. Okay, so it depends on what we're disagreeing on, honestly.
Okay.
Because if it's a disagreement with at the core of who I am, right? If it's a part of who I am as a human being, or what I value as a human being, if the disagreement is rooted in my oppression or the oppression of others, then we not gonna really work.
Right.
Not in a close proximity. And I can hold grace for transformation because I've not always been able to see and understand things for myself, right?
I'm preaching to the choir today, Pastor.
Listen, we have to have grace for one another. I'm learning and I'm making mistakes, and I want people to hold grace for me.
Right.
So I'm never gonna come for my Black women and be all bashing and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna have a conversation behind the scenes, as much as possible. But as far as there being a close proximity type of relationship, that is a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
Right? Like if we don't agree on parenting styles, fine. But if your parenting style means that you're abusing your children,
right.
And you're encouraging me to do the same, and I need to actually call some assistance for your children. Hey, we gonna, or if you
we might not be going out to brunch together.
We're not really gonna kick it like that. Or if you believe, if you hold beliefs that are oppressive to, Black trans women or LGBTQ community, and you're holding those beliefs and you're holding on to them as though they are good to have, because all of us have internalized, negative beliefs against other groups of people that we have to work through. But if you are holding on to them as sacred and wonderful, we just won't have what we gonna talk about, because we just gonna be arguing all the time. I'm not gonna do that. But I say adjust proximity, because it is important that we still remain in connection and relationship so that we can encourage that evolution, right? Like we don't want to be up high and mighty, like, oh, you should be like me, but buddy going on vacations together, that's probably going to change.
Right. Right.
So, it's just holding space, because we have a lot of healing to do.
Right.
We've endured a lot.
And individually.
Yes, we've endured a lot. So we have a lot of healing to do. A lot.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me, because that's definitely something that I contend with a lot. I use my space a lot of time to just discuss my life. A lot of, your name is your brand. Like, what I'm saying? Come on, motivate with Mo, And so I just wanted to touch base with you on that, because, we were talking yesterday, and among other things we were talking about, but we were talking in yesterday's show about mentorship. And I was like, damn, everybody got a mentor but me. And so when you're looking to, you don't have a mentor neither?
No, I mentor myself. No. I got a therapist.
It's too much. They want you to know everything and do everything, and everybody else got guidance and still struggling, but you, so let me not even get started on that train of thought. But so I'm trying to be grateful for this space with you. And I want to know about you, what's going on? I know that you have your Shine Together Academy. What's that about? How, you went to school at Johns Hopkins University, you out here stunting on all of us, sis. What's good?
I'm just over here trying to pursue Black liberation. You know what I'm saying? I'm just over here trying to pursue it in all the ways that is Black liberation, right? Like political, social, economical, health. I mean, all of the things. I want us all to be free. And
Right.
I create different classes, courses, programs. You have Shine Brighter Together, community that's kind of like the hub. Well, we call it, well, it's actually Shine Bright School
Okay.
online. A lot of things reference to light, like all this light coming in right here. Sis is just radiant, I guess,
Yes. Come
you
on.
know.
Melanin's going ping, 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 ping.
Just popping, just kiss from the sun. But
Yes.
I have all these experiences, everything from one-time classes. So it's like I call them my shine classes, and we do a specific topic like racist habits or white feelings or whatever.
Right.
And then I have longer programs, like I have a kids course on how to talk to kids about race. It's not for kids. White people, y'all need to learn how to talk to your own damn kids. But it's a class to teach you how to do that. People be like, well, can you teach the kids? No. No, you need to learn how to raise your children and use a race conscious lens. And so I have that. And then I have my signature program, which is Unity Over Comfort. That's 12 weeks. And that's walking you through the process of understanding the commitment to anti racism. I even have a 12-month program. We just had a session today. And that is for people who've gone through Unity Over Comfort. These are the people who have had opportunity to learn the foundation and are putting it into practice and getting
Right.
called out. I call them out. I pull them in. I put them to work.
Right.
We're reading books. We're dissecting, what's going on in the world. Like it's a lot that's happening within the group. Um, so I mean, ultimately, all of it is one. The goal is to make anti-racism education accessible as much as possible while still honoring myself, realizing that I should be paid for what I do as all
Why
Black
should you be
folks.
paid? Like, what made you realize that? Because, I constantly have people, especially it's like I don't understand certain Black people who agree with white supremacists. Like, y'all can't be all thinking from the same lens. So what made you decide I need to be paid for this labor?
I can't actually think of a moment when I didn't think I should be paid for it. So it wasn't like I was thinking that I shouldn't, and then I was like, oh, I should. Like it's like it's like I've always known I was Black. Like I always known that I should be paid for my work. I think what made it so seamless like that though is that I
Right.
transitioned from doing business and marketing development for small brands and small business
Right.
owners who would send me, who would sign, pay invoices that within the, with no problem. And so I knew white people had this money and I knew that they would pay for what they thought was important. And so I was just nervous about if they would pay for this, but I never wondered if I should charge for it. Like it was never a question for me. Um, and so now I just charge more. Like every time I just charge more and more,
Right.
because and everybody has their own model. And I think everybody should do what they feel is best. But I believe that more people who have a desire to truly live out the principles of redistributing wealth and building community need to have more access to wealth. And so the more money that I make in my business, the more money I'm able to pour into other communities, especially the more marginalized communities. So now that my platform is larger, I bring the white folks opportunities and call them in to bring in money, but I also pour my own money into things. And I believe that's part of like I feel a responsibility to my community.
Mm.
The more I gain
What's
access
your
to,
sign?
I'm just telling you, like the
No,
more
what's your astrological sign?
oh my sign, Gemini. But
You
I
got some
think
Aquarius in your chart. Go ahead.
Taurus maybe, I don't know.
What?
But
Stop.
but like I feel a responsibility, not an obligation, but a responsibility to bring people with me. So like if I have access to a room of folks, of course I'm bringing my people in. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's not even something I have to calculate in my mind. Someone reach out to me, they want me to do something. I'm like, I'm probably not the best person for that, but I know who is. Like
Right.
I don't have. I've never been the type of person who believes in like hoarding things for myself. Just so I've never questioned if I should charge. Why wouldn't I?
Right. Right. Right.
Like Gucci ain't free. Hey,
Right.
you ever had free Gucci?
I've never had Gucci, period.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, it ain't free. You ain't gonna get it for free unless some illegal things going on, and that's a whole
Right,
other problem.
right, right,
So, if people out here charging for water,
right.
a natural resource,
A
people
natural
charging,
resource.
just charging.
I wanted to ask you too, because it's my own little selfish. What do you think? Because I hear you say, like, I need to be sustained as an individual, and I also am connected to my community. And so, by me being sustained, a rising tide lifts all ships, and I'm also funneling money back into my community. I can not even count anymore. And so, shout out to Rachel, who will be helping us do the bookkeeping, because my tax attorney is so through with me. Like, she's like, I hate you. She never said that, but I feel it sometimes. Um, and it's just because just quantifying um the amount of people's rent we've paid, the light bills, the food we've given, just giving Black joy, like, oh, you need a hotel to stay in so you could write, you're an actual author, we need you to write, or you want to launch your career doing something. The something we're about to do is, instead of white folks constantly doing for me, we're also going to have a skill share, so that way they can teach someone that we're paying. We'll pay the Black femme or non-man to do the work that we needed the white person to do. So it's a skill share. And if they do it for a year, then they have a year's worth of bookkeeping experience.
Wow,
And
that's
so we trying to
awesome.
do that with grant writing and things like that. And so my question to you is a little selfish. How do you get past the, if like the desire is here in your heart to give to your community, what is the thing that's stopping you from, I say this all the time, not everyone is required, who does this work is required to be a part of the community. And so that's all I'll say about that. And so what do you think? I think a lot of times I would be more popular if I was a bad bitch and I just kept the money to myself. I think I would be more popular. I think my platform would be popping, but it's not about that for me. I've always been for my community, and so what do you think for you is that splitting point that's like, what, I could be making this money because I'm Black, because I have this anti-racism lens, because I have a degree in business and marketing, and because I'm about to shit on all you hoes. You could be like that, but what is it inside? I'm just calling it like I see it. But what is it inside of you that's like, no, and I have a social responsibility because I'm Black, that I need to bring everyone with me. And then
Yeah.
how do you not do that to the detriment of yourself? I know
So
that was a lot.
there was a lot. Also, the degree is not in business and marketing.
Oh, sorry.
Social science, mental health.
Social, yeah.
But sum that up in a sentence. What is it? What is what question there? Because that was a lot.
Okay, that's a good question. So the question there, I feel like, is what what did you decide is your social responsibility, and why aren't you doing it for yourself? Because you are a Black mom, you have a Black family, you probably have extended family who are also counting on you. What makes you want to continue giving to your community instead of being self-serving?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For me, this is very much spiritual work.
Mm,
So January 2000, what is this? 2020. So January, of course I know this 2020. 2020 ain't right. So 2019, I will never forget this. I was fasting and I was praying,
mhm.
and I got a very clear divine download, and I wrote it down, and it made a lot of sense, but I also was like, how is this gonna happen?
Right.
And one of the things spoke so true to who I am, and I'm a very generous person. And so for me, like, it is just so natural. Like,
Mm,
it's as natural as loving my children.
mm,
There's really not any, like, especially like when I went viral, and earning more money and stuff, like, my first thing was like, oh, I know I can pour more into the people I already was given to.
right. Right.
Like, it was people when COVID hit and it was hitting hard. There were people I was sending money to, Venmo, just here and there, to help them out with stuff. They didn't have to ask me. I just did it. And then it was like, oh, I can do more. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I can do more. And so that was one of my first response, because like we're fine. We have what we need. We're not lacking of anything. So like to me, it's just like giving from your overflow.
Right. Okay.
But then it's also not waiting for an overflow too, because
Mm,
there was times when I didn't have a whole lot of overflow and I still believed in giving and sharing. That's just, I believe that's just really how we are as a people, especially as Black people. Like we are such a communal people, and we're that's what white supremacy has tried to rip from us, and that individualism mindset is all
right.
about me and all. But we really are a communal people, and we really do believe in supporting one another, and like it's in our DNA. That's how we literally have been able to survive through generations, relying
Mm,
on one another. And so how dare I even be tempted to sever that,
right.
from who I am and from the legacy of this work. Black liberation is literally about community. Like we don't
Right.
get here without each other.
Right.
So I believe in pouring into my people, and then I also believe in pouring into myself. Like,
Yes.
I
I
mean,
was just complimenting them earrings. I'm like,
girl,
classy,
listen,
classy.
let me put a little song,
I
I
love your
believe
laugh. I love it.
I believe in taking care of myself
Right.
first. Okay? I don't believe it's selfish. I believe that it's responsible. Because if I'm not taking care of me,
Drag me.
come on now, if I'm not taking care of me, that means that whatever you getting from me is gonna be the reserve, the leftovers, and it ain't gonna be good. You ever go to like a buffet and they haven't restocked and the chicken
And
be
it be
old?
all crusty and hard around the
Girl,
edges. Don't talk to me about buffets.
listen, I mean, ooh, like old crab ragoon is not good. It's not,
Mhm.
it's, or what y'all call it, crab wontons, because some people don't call it crab ragoon. Um, I'm from St. Louis. We call it crab ragoon.
You from
But
St. Louis?
yes, girl. Don't you hear that over there?
No,
Over there.
because I always got yelled at before. It's not important the person name. I always got yelled at before for saying St. Louis is the Midwest when it's the South. I thought you
It's
was
the
saying
Midwest. Who says it's the South?
I'm
Somebody
not
not
even
from
saying
St. Louis?
I no, they from St. Louis.
They don't know
Um
their roots. We literally call like Midwest.
Thank
Like,
you. That's all I've been saying for the rest of my
girl,
life.
I'm
Thank
from
you.
St. Louis. But my thing is, like, I really do believe in taking care of myself first. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean only taking care of myself.
This
You know
is
what
a
I'm saying?
word
Like
for
when
me. I
people say
hope you
Black
know.
Lives Matter, it's
I hope
not
you know.
like an invisible only in front of it. It's like, it's all like, yes, all like I absolutely have to take care of myself, all of me. But like if I'm not taking care of me, I'm not gonna want to have sex with my husband.
All right.
And I'm not gonna want to hang out with my kids. I'm not gonna have the right kind of energy to focus on my work. Like I have to take care of me. It's responsible.
You don't even know how much you just like hit me in the head with that because it's like I always feel guilty when I take care of myself. So thank you.
Oh, that's just I mean, that's literally like internalized anti-blackness,
I know.
right? Like, and then we have to think about like how the type of care that we need as Black women is not always accessible. Like you said, you work in. I don't have no time for no therapy. So many Black women would benefit so much from being in therapy with amazing other Black women, but working, taking care of kids, taking care of home. There's so many environmental things going on in systems that make healing for us so damn near impossible. But we have to push. And for those of us who have access to some of the things, we got to encourage and create spaces for those who don't.
I just really feel like that was a word from from God themselves. So thank you so much for that. And I didn't mean to cry, but I
Hey, let it
appreciate you.
out.
No, I
Let it out.
appreciate you. Um so the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, you kind of started to touch base on it. I feel like I don't know if you feel like this because I feel like you've been doing this for a long time. Do you feel like 2017 is just 2020 is just a repeat of 2017, but like with dragons and like helicopter, like the fuck? Because I feel like I could recycle all my old articles
I mean,
and
really, 2020 is a recycle of like 1965. Like, I
mm,
mean, you could pick any time, right? Like,
right,
you could pull a speech from Dr. Angela Davis,
Right.
or read anything from James Baldwin's book, Bell Hooks. Like, you could read any of this stuff of these folks that they wrote a couple decades ago,
Right.
and it's still absolutely so relevant
So
today.
accurate.
You know, you change the outfits, like maybe we not wearing bell bottoms, maybe, but I mean,
No, bell bottoms is back in style,
they
boo.
are.
Absolute. I just ordered 2 pairs.
You're
I
right.
got shoes to go with them too.
You're right. And I mean, sequence ain't going
Swollen
anywhere.
ankle and I'm ready.
I just feel like white people, I generally feel like white people are very comfortable with our oppression.
Oof.
And until white
And
people,
why wouldn't they be?
they benefit so much from it. I mean, you know, and so until white people really, which I don't know if this will ever happen in our lifetime, until white people really decide that they want to eliminate racism, they won't. They know they absolutely can.
What are some responses that you get from the people who have taken your classes? Because I get accused a lot. I mean, not that I care what white people think. I don't. But I get accused a lot from trolls who's full-time, who worried about me having a job, but their full-time job is to follow me and other people like me around. And so what do you think the response from people who have actually taken your class, like, do they have a better understanding of certain concepts that other white people who troll us are struggling with?
Oh yeah.
Like, that Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that only Black Lives Matter, but clearly we're talking about the oppression of Black people globally and how it's been at the hands of white folks.
Right. Yeah, they absolutely do. Those who take my classes and do the work. So, just like anything in life, you could sign up for a class, you can buy all the books, but if you don't attend, if you don't read them, if you don't study, if you don't practice, you can just check a box, right?
Right.
So, the white folks who sometimes they tell me all the time how it's like I tease them. I'll be like, because white people, this is me imitating white people. They'd be like, oh my god, like this was so life changing. Like, oh my god, like I'm like so transformed. Like,
You're like, how, Sue Ann? Can you please explain how?
like, oh my god, like you're so amazing. I'm like, settle. Okay, so the thing is, the people, like, I watch them, um, and I notice the changes within them. I notice, like, sometimes they will even change careers because they're like, they'll learn more about the history of racism within their industry, although it's
Right.
they can leave one and go to
They
another one.
they could go anywhere, baby. I got the notes. I got the notes.
It's like technology, healthcare, like, hey, y'all, still racist. But um you can just see the processing and the willingness to redistribute resources and to really advocate for change, but be off of social media, right? Like showing up in protests, showing up in meetings,
Right.
showing up in the email, showing up on the calls, really showing up in multiple ways that we talk about and I teach about. But in every class that I do, so let's take unity over comfort, for example,
Okay.
it's 12 weeks.
Y'all
I,
better not say shit about my class if y'all take a Monique's class. I'm telling you.
how long is your class?
5 weeks and they be complaining. They be like, I'm not paying $100 for 5 weeks. I'm like, asshole.
Wait. I was gonna answer your question, but now I gotta come back. Wait. It's 5 weeks of you teaching live?
2 hours. Yep. Each class is
And
about
you
10 hours plus
and,
homework that I'm grading.
oh, whoa. We'll talk. We're gonna talk about this offline.
All right. Go ahead. Answer my question. I shouldn't have said shit to you.
I'm literally being blown away.
And we have 2 instructors. So I'm making $50 per person. That's it. They be complaining. They be like, it's too rich for my taste.
Do you know how much my program costs?
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Do you want me to tell you?
I do, because you and Catrice Jackson be blowing me out the water. I'm like, I am small pond. Do you understand what I'm saying? For people to think I have such a big platform, I am small pond.
Well, sis, if you don't charge more, they won't pay more.
Oh, you just came on the show to drag me. It's fine. You just
Let
talking
me
to me about my
snatch.
miss up. No,
Let me
it's
snatch
valid.
some edges real quick.
No, it's not.
So
You know, I just got them laid too. Okay.
listen, um,
I hate it here.
okay, and I'm not even trying to be like, oh, like elitism and all that kind of stuff. I went to college. I went to grad school. I know how much money it costs to pay, like to go to school. And it's
Right.
ridiculous. It's absolutely inaccessible. It's ridiculous. It's elitism, all the kind of stuff. However, I also know about them student loans though. Okay.
Right.
And the amount of money people are willing to pour into their education so they can be able to attain employment. And it is incredibly rigged against Black folks.
Right.
I also know that white people own about 80 to 90% of the wealth in this country. So if anybody's going to have the money to pay for my classes, it is definitely going to be disproportionately white folks who have exploited Black folks for generations and have built wealth off of our backs. Okay. So y'all are paying me, y'all are repaying me for what my ancestors were robbed of.
Right.
But you are going to also invest in this work because I have invested time, money, energy, and effort. And I also bring in another educator. There's no way some white person is going to tell me how much to charge for my class. Whatever I decide to charge is what I'm going to charge, and either you pay it or you don't. But you're not going to get to decide the price tag. Now, what I'm going to say offline, we're going to have a talk, Dee Dee, because
someone just texted me how much your cost is, and
y'all don't want to know, because if you
I'm not gonna say it. I'm saying you blessed. You have something that I don't have, and that's okay.
What do I have that you don't have?
Ooh, the fortright. That's what I don't have. Because I'm saying, if you knew what was happening in my comments right now, I have people deleting stuff and blocking people because this is my space. I curate it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh, did you bring her on here so she could beg for money like you? I don't beg people for money. I love what you said when you're saying, like, I'm educating you. It's not some imaginary course I've made up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just appreciate it. I feel validated, actually. This show is about you, but I feel validated just speaking with you.
This is about us. This is about us. This ain't about me. You
That's why it ain't an interview.
You charge what you want to charge, and white people don't get to tell you how much your stuff is worth. It's priceless, first of all, that you even get to be in the room with me. So don't sit up here and act like I'm begging you for nothing. I ain't begging you for a thing. And what I will tell you is that when you really, and the more money that white people invest in this work, there is a greater tendency for them to take it seriously. But when it's free, when it's cheap, when they don't have to be held accountable, they will make every excuse in the book to not show up and not do a thing. And my thing is, I have done enough time in business and marketing, and I have worked with enough white people who will write these checks for their business to know that if you don't charge more, they won't pay you more.
Right. Okay. I needed to put on highlighted today because I didn't need to put on highlighted. You gave me too much shine just now. Like, thank you.
All I'm saying is, when's your next class? When's your next opening for your class?
Next Wednesday.
And then people sign up and they do, like, they pay per class, or they sign up for the set of.
They sign up for the sessions. I have it set up so that they could pay.
$100 a session?
No.
That's okay. You know better, you do better. Right? You know better, you do better.
I feel like my mom sent you to come talk to me. She's not with us no more, but she sent you.
Listen, maybe she did. Thank you, mama. Because I'm not gonna say here. This is what I'm gonna say, because I don't want to give the wrong impression. People charge what you feel comfortable charging, but don't feel pressured to charge less because you got white people being like, "Oh my goodness, I can't afford that. I can't pay that." Da, 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 da. That's my thing. Like, if you want to make because I have things that are like pay what you can. right?
Okay.
And so
Right.
some people don't pay nothing, some people pay a little bit, but then I have programs that are thousands of dollars.
Right.
So people can't sit up and be like, why your stuff ain't accessible? My stuff is accessible
Accessible.
to the way that I decide that it's accessible.
Right.
Because the truth of the matter is, ain't none of it new.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Right.
So I've curated it and I've put it all together. I've brought it all in. I've written, I have resources that I've created and designed myself and all these kind of things. I'm not discounting what I've created. But at the same time, if somebody is like, oh my God, I really want to take this course, but I can't afford it. Okay, Google, it's free.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. I got you. Let me ask you a question. What I know it's mostly a lot of white women that surround themselves. They follow you. They literally want to be up under you. What would you say is your biggest concern if you had one? Mine is I don't like the mental health as a reason to divest from anti-racism work. We received an email last week, class 3 week, the week before. This is class 5 coming up, the last class. And then we start a new iteration next Wednesday. And the lady says, I'm just not keeping up and due to my anxiety. And all my facilitators read her for filth. Like, they wasn't rude, but they were like, your anxiety. All 3 of us live with mental health issues, and a Black man was shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin that day. And so, like, we still are showing up to the class because we cannot, I can't take off my Blackness. I can't wake up and not be oppressed. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would love to. And so what would you say is your biggest feedback? I would call it criticism. You want to call it feedback. We call it the same thing. What would be the way you would want white women to show up in this work?
Stop making excuses. You know what I'm saying? Because we got stuff to do too. We got laundry, we got kids, we have elderly, we have disabled family members to care for. We have multiple generations within our homes. We have shit to do too.
Right.
Okay. And so we're not saying Thursday at 5, I'm going to deal with racism. And then Friday, I'm done. No, when we in the airport trying to get to our vacation or go to our family member's funeral, we're dealing with racism. When we're just trying to order food at a restaurant, we're dealing with racism. When we're trying to send our kids to school and hope that they get a good education, we're dealing with racism. It literally disrupts our day at any given moment, and in many cases can result in life-changing or even death. So if we have to deal with racism, the very least you could do is to learn how to eliminate it so that we don't have to deal with it. And maybe we could have some time to help fold laundry too. So my thing is, like, stop making excuses. Yes, life happens. Every single round of Unity Over Comfort, there are people who don't stick with it, right? Like every round, they might.
Okay, I just want to see if I was alone in that.
No. Every round, like I had a round, not my last one, but the one before that, only half stuck with it to the end.
Right. Okay.
And some of them maybe listen to the replays. I didn't have a way then of tracking it. Now I do. So my thing is, like, life is going to continue to happen. Part of what I do is teaching folks the responsibility of showing up in this work, right, even when it's inconvenient.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you got a 90-minute lecture that you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can make it because I'm running late, blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee you, if that was something that you felt like you had to be at or else, right, you would make sure you were there. Now, if it's a life emergency, somebody got hurt, like a real serious thing, fine. But y'all be finding the easiest thing to just find, like, ooh, can't be there today.
I need to feed my dog at 7:30 and your class begins at 8.
I'm like, feed him at 6, like, dude, like, no, I need to focus on, I'm about to have a baby. Black women are dying trying to give birth, or Black birthing people. So, if y'all were doing this work, we wouldn't even be dealing with this stuff. So I just think it's an excuse, and it's people who are not willing to do the work. And that's really not my people.
Thank you. I have my second to last question to ask you. You and I had a conversation some time ago. I would say probably like either end of June, mid-July. I don't remember.
Yeah,
and we were
in July.
I was like, it was sometime. Shout out to Lori. who let me Egypt stay in her beautiful home. Thank you so much. And I remember I was outside, and it was like the first time in a long time I was like doing work from my laptop, like in the wilderness, like, you know what I'm saying? And it was just dope. And you called me and you were like, I just want to check on you. But we were talking about classism, and it's something that, like, you know, I've been talking with a lot of Black women about, and like the whole if I don't go out to dinner with these friends who can't pay the bill, or who I only have the water and the salad type chick or whatever, how do we, you know, even as like we talk about creating sustainability for ourselves, how do we not engage in classism? Because, you know, I come from a different space than you do, but when we start to like build and like build our platforms, how do we not engage in classism?
Yeah. And that's the thing that we have to be really careful of, to not mimic the same systems of oppressions
Right.
that, you know, oppress our people. You know, I think it's one, being really conscious about the decisions that you're making and why you're making them,
Okay.
dealing with your own money blocks and your money issues and insecurities around that, and deciding, you know, why am I doing this thing? And who am I doing this for? And what purpose is it serving? And who might it be harming? I think it's really just being careful about the decisions that we're making, but also giving ourselves permission to enjoy luxury by whatever that means to us, right? Because luxury, it's so, you know, in instance it might be one thing to someone, in another instance it might be another thing to, you know, something to another person.
Right.
um and there's a person I follow on Instagram. Her name's Tyshira, and she her handle is politics and fashion, and fashion is spelled
Oh
with that.
yes, let's follow. Somebody post
Oh,
that in the comments,
yeah,
at
it's
politics and
fashion
fashion.
without the vowels. So it's fashion without the vowels.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, but she is fabulous. Okay, she is fabulous in every sense of the word fabulous.
Okay.
She's brilliant. You should have her on here. She's smart. She's
That's
beautiful.
one of my questions.
Yeah, have her on here. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's funny. She's incredible. Like, she's one all these wonderful things. And I had her. I interviewed her on a panel for an event, and one of the things she talked about is how, you know, how she shows up in the world and all that is like a part of the revolution. You know, really just like imagining that there are all sorts of Black folks out here. Some of us like certain things, some of us don't, and it's okay. Like, because I also don't want to be turned into this person that turns my nose up
Right.
to certain kinds of folks because I feel like they are being, you know, classist or whatever. Because sometimes a lot of that is perception,
Right.
right? Or maybe our own insecurities or our own anti-Blackness.
Can it be both?
But it could be all of it.
It could be all of it.
It
I
could be
love it
all of it.
here.
And
Okay,
I
all
think
right.
that's where, because I think that's where getting clear on our motives,
Right.
you know.
Like, I know I can't afford bundles this month. I would love to. So I got me some crochet hair. Thank you, $34.99.
Listen, listen, and let me tell you something. One of the things I talked about was like gaining weight, and one of my
Yeah, I
skirts,
saw your post. Thank you for sharing that, because I gained
girl,
about 28 COVID pounds.
I don't even know. I got rid of my scale like almost 2 years ago,
Uh,
but one of my skirts, it's a head wrap now. I mean, repurpose it,
okay. Come on,
recycle.
repurpose.
Okay, do what you gotta do.
Okay. All right. I just want to thank you. My last question is a question I ask all my guests. I feel like you
Uh oh.
already answered it.
What?
And it's a two-pronged question because I'm just a complicated individual. It is what it is. And so the first question is there, I know we covered a lot, but is there anything pressing that you was like, oh shit, I wanted to bring that up, or I wanted to promote this and Dee didn't even bring it up. Bad researcher, bad researcher. And two, the second part is, who would you like to see on the show if you watch the show?
Yeah. Um. Is there anything? I really just wanted to talk about what you wanted to talk about.
You want to talk about what I want to talk about? I
I
want to talk about
did.
what you talk about.
See, there we go. We just talking about what we want to talk about, basically, because we just talking about it. But I would just say that I'm tired of talking about Black death, and I want to talk about Black liberation. It
Come
is
on now.
important for us to have awareness of what's going on, the pain and the suffering, but it is also time for us to amplify and to imagine Black liberation and what does it look like for Black folks to thrive? What does that look like? Because a lot of what we're fighting for is necessary. Absolutely. All of
Right.
it. All of it's necessary, but it's also baseline. It's like basic, right? Like we're Black folks being able to walk down the street without being shot. Basic. Like
Right.
that's not thriving, right?
Right.
Like that's just basic. So I would like for us to really imagine what does that look like and really be working and advocating for that. Um, my second thing, well, let me add one more thing in there.
Of
Um,
course.
pay Black women, pay them, and
I
amplify
hope
the
y'all
voice.
see that the pin post is all Monique's PayPal. You can subscribe to Monique's Patreon. You can also follow Mo on IG and on Twitter. And you also have a class coming up.
I do. I got things, but I wanted to pay you. Okay, look, put your payment links in there because
What?
it is time for a pay raise. Okay, so let's get it going. But I think we need to also amplify our most marginalized Black folks. You know,
Right.
especially our Black trans women, our Black disabled women, our Black women experiencing poverty, our Black fat women,
Right.
like all of that. So I would say all that. But the person. Oh, I don't know. I mean, like I said, Tashara,
we
she
gonna we gonna reach out to her and see what she say. A lot of times I end up, it's so funny about this show. I don't know how your podcast works, but what I did was, I was once a Mary Kay. It's so funny. White people
me
always constantly be
too.
like, "Shut up." Okay, white people constantly like, "Get a job." I'm like, you know how many jobs I have on a daily.
I
Okay,
was a
right?
Mary Kay consultant in college.
Listen. My second year of college, I decided I want that pink car, and
Yes, it was my sophomore year too.
look, we got so much in
We
common.
do.
so so I remember like they taught us that like in order to book the number of parties that you want for the month, you got to reach out to double the amount of people because only 1/3 of the people is going to actually book parties or whatever, right? And so that's what I did for the podcast. And people like, I think we're almost at 65 episodes, and people are like, since April, and most people that got podcasts, they not there. The Stoop, I don't know how many episodes. I think they got like 20, but also they very busy living different lives. I'm like depressed, and so I just want to talk to other people. So,
You know
so
what, Cindy? Don't just throw that in there all casually.
no, it's fine. So I'm
It's
just
not.
trying to
You
like,
deserve
what I'm trying to do
you
is
well.
find healing in lieu. I just, while I was on the phone with you, I text someone who's been trying to offer me therapy services, and shout out to her because I think she could see it in my face. Like she's a real one. I would say that. I was on a Zoom call with a whole bunch of people, Gina Belafonte, all of that. And then she was just like, inbox me. She was like, "Are you okay?" So, and I just love Black women. I really do. And so I just want you. So you said the politics and fashion person.
Yeah,
Thank you, Catherine, for
yeah.
posting that
Tashara,
because we'll reach out to her. But that's what I want to say is
she is
we reached
fabulous.
out to so many people, and then people don't see it for months. And then that's how I get all these famous people on the show because I've done so much work that they be like, "Oh shit, okay, sis." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
definitely Tashara. Also Nala, Simone. They both were guests on
okay.
my panel that I did. We talked about like race and gender and sexuality. Amazing, amazing.
I'm gonna reach out to them. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all your pointers. I'm actually gonna go back and watch this. I'm gonna go to the hair store and go get Egypt some beads. But
Must be the sound of
yes,
Black girl youth. That is literally
yes, Egypt,
yes.
Egypt be like this with the beads.
Yes.
So,
My daughter be like banging them on the wall just to
right.
hear. It is the sound of Black girl youth.
Yes. And so I just want to say thank you so much. I really feel like I'm in a different space than what I was when I sat down in this chair. So thank you for that. And I will be reaching out to your assistant and to your calendar so we could talk about some of those things that we started to touch
Yes,
base on here.
please, y'all.
No, I'm
Yes.
gonna visit your calendar.
What do people? Are there people in the chats that need to be reminded that we don't play no games? Like, did you block them all? Did we get rid of all the
Oh yeah,
nonsense?
no, definitely. And I really even my team, I see my team all up in here now. Yeah, I
Good,
see my team.
good,
They like
good.
delete, block, and them comments is also gonna be deleted because we don't want no parts of that.
No, thank you for having me. This was fun. I enjoyed it. I really enjoy your energy. I met you at the Follow Black Women Conference hosted by
Yes,
the
in
amazing
Minnesota.
Patrice Jackson. Yes, that's where I first laid eyes on you. And I was like, I like her. And so I've been
They put me on a panel at the last minute. They was like, I guess this bitch is here. She could speak. Like,
hey, I'm glad they did because I
wow,
would have
thank you.
eventually, but
Eventually.
it was awesome. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate this, and I will email. Well, I won't be doing anything. Thank
The
you to my team of
assistant.
volunteers who will be
Yes.
emailing you and letting you know when the episode is ready to go on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Stitcher. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much.
I hope you have a great day, and everyone. This has been another amazing episode of The Full Set. Peace.
Yay.